Okay. And... Right, okay. Can you let me know if you can all see my screen, please?
Yes.
Perfect. Right.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so right, so the application, as you all know, is called Eventbrite. So when you go to eventbrite.com, you're going to see this login here, and you can create a login, but the easiest way to do it is if you have a Gmail account or a Facebook account, you can literally just click on the Gmail or Facebook logo at the bottom of the screen. And what it would do something what's called a single sign-on. And that sign-on will connect you, will basically automatically create an account for you if you don't already have one. So I'm going to start with the basics, and I will try to remember to pause every few minutes just in case anyone has any questions. But if anyone has any questions and is left, for ages and I don't answer, if someone can just give me a little nudge, that's no problem. Right, so the very first step after you create your account, if you look at the top, you're going to see something here called create an event. So it's on the top right of the screen. I don't know if you're using mobiles or desktops, but hopefully you've got a big enough screen to see what I'm doing. So I'm clicking on create an event here. And then from here, I can just give it a title. So let's just say I call it let's just say I call it opportunity webinar. And after you've given it the title, you'll see that you've got type. So that's basically the type of event that it is. So because I've always been doing stuff that's travel related, it's already pre-filled in the category that it's likely to be. But if I was to click on the drop down, you'll see that it could be all kinds of different events. So it could be a convention, a festival, a party, social gathering, etc., etc. So, and then depending on what you select in the first drop-down option, that would determine what options you get in the next column, and then so on and so forth. So like I said, because I've done a few of these, it's already pre-filled in. So my one is seminar or talk, business and professional, startup and small business. It doesn't mean you have to use that as well, but that's just what I chose for myself. And then once you've picked that part, you have something that's called tags. So it's a little bit like hashtags when you're using your Instagram, and you can pick words to to try and generate publicity for your event. I could potentially have put in the word travel. So these are some words that are in there already. So I could just say travel. And actually, when I look, let me just drag that down a bit. So you see when I typed the word travel, you will see that it's given me a number of suggestions, and that gives you a sense of how popular certain terms might be. So from these that I can see here, the word travel by itself has quite a lot, 1,000, 1,500, and then some of them have only a few. I'll be honest, I'm not sure if it means that there's I'm not sure if it's a determination of how popular it is or if it's a determination of how many events use it, but I suspect it's a determination of how popular it is, similar to a hashtag. So if I put that in there, and I'm going to pause just in case, okay, I don't see any questions so far. Okay, so once you've done the tags and the type of webinar that you're doing, or the type of event that you're doing, you've then got the option of choosing whether or not it's an actual physical venue or if it's an online event. And you see that depending on which one of these you select, it affects the options that you see below it. So you see when I'm toggling like that. So I will briefly do the venue one. So let's just say that it was a physical venue. And I just put, say, London. And you see that it can, okay, for example, this is the last, I was actually partnered with someone yesterday, and we did a physical event that took place yesterday. And you see that it links with Google Maps and it selects the area, and you can use that to help people determine the location of where the event's going to be. Now, having said that, you might not want to do the exact address, because you might want to say, okay, there is going to be a physical venue, but you might not want the address to be visible until someone has registered. And then when they register, they would get an sorry, did someone just say something? Oh, and then when they register, they would get an automatic email telling them the location of the venue. So that's just a brief bit about actual locations. But actually, that's a good question. So can you give me a 1 if you're most concerned about physical venues, and a 2 if you're most concerned about arranging webinars, and then I put the most focus on either or. Okay, right. Starting to swing. Okay, it's about half and half. Okay, right. Okay. Okay, so let me see. Depending on how much time we've got. Okay, let me do the online. Let me go back to the and I can always do another one of these, by the way. So, I'm happy to do another one, because it's a lot. It can potentially be a lot to absorb at once. So let's just say I go back to, where is it again? Can I change that back? Okay, if I just do discard. Okay. Okay, so let's just say I make it an online event. And you do have the option of making it a recurring event, but I don't know. It depends how much time you have in your hands. I have done recurring events, but I think it's a little bit less of a challenge to do the single event, especially when you're first starting out. So let's just say I make it a single event, and I can select the date. So let's just say I'm making it the August the 9th, and the event starts at 7 p.m. and it ends at, let's just say it ends at 8:30 p.m. Now, one thing that I tend to do, but everyone's may have their own way of wanting to do it. What I do is I display the start time, but I don't display the end time. That's just a personal choice. You might want to do it differently, but I prefer not to display the end time. So you've got flexibility there. And depending on where you are in the world, so by default is English US, but because I'm in the UK, I use English UK for the language. And the time zone is already pre-selected for the UK for me. So they're two things to keep an eye on, maybe especially the first time you're doing it. So once I've done this section, I do save and continue. Okay, did I click on that? Okay, yeah. So it wouldn't let me go past because I haven't, yeah. Oh yeah, because I refreshed it, it deleted that information. Okay, so opportunity. Okay. So if I do save and continue, and it now goes to the next stage. So here, this is the section where you can upload a pre-existing image, or if you're using Canva, you can upload an image that you've done already. So I use Canva. So just to give you a brief, continue with Google. Again, because I have a Canva account, it links with it, and then it pre-selects the image ratio, and then from there I can create something. But because I've used this in the past, I've already got images that I can use for this. If you create it, you need to make sure you get the right image ratio. So yeah, so you can do that, or like I said, you can just upload an image that you have on your PC. And another nice touch that you have is you can create a introductory video. So what I've tended to do is either upload a short video or use one of the Planet Marketing videos as a short intro to give it a bit more, give it a little bit more slickness to attract people to it. So that's what I do. So I upload a video, put it on my YouTube, and then once from my YouTube, I just copy the URL link, I paste it into that, and it will automatically play that when someone clicks on my Eventbrite link and they're looking at the information about the event that I'm doing. And here I would write a summary, and you'll see that there's a little red asterisk. So I won't be able to go past this stage if I don't write something. Let me just write something. Webinar. I can't go past this stage if I don't have a summary thing. And also the same applies to the description. I have to write something in here about the event as well. Now, depending on whether or not this is a physical location or webinar, in here, you can actually put the agenda. So if you want to go into detail, let's just say it's a physical event, you could actually add like an itinerary of different things that are happening and what time they take place. So actually you can do that whether it's a webinar or if it's in person. So you've got that option. And then depending on the type of event, you can also do an FAQ as well, a frequently asked questions section as well. So that's an option that you have as well. So if I just discard that bit and see, and you see that every time you click on discard, it deletes what you've put in for that particular page. So bear that in mind. But having said that, it won't let you go past the page until you've completed everything anyway. So, oh, is it not going to let me do anything without an image? Bear with me 1 second. Okay, I'm just gonna. Okay, I'm just gonna pick any old thing. Okay, save and return. Okay, let me just use another one. Oh, why is it doing that? Okay. No, that's strange because I do have a paid account, so maybe it's a different level of subscription. Let's see if I can find something else. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, I'm just putting any old thing there. Okay, so yeah, so once you've selected your image, that will go into there, and I should, what else is it? I think I filled everything in. I don't see anything that I've missed out, unless maybe it wants me to type a bit more text. Just try something. Okay, let me try that. Can't see anything that I've missed. While I'm doing that, does anyone have any questions? don't think I've missed
I'm
it.
just happy I'm learning.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
I have a real quick question. On the agenda, do you have to write something on there?
I haven't in the past, but yeah.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah. But you never know. Maybe that's why it's not letting me click. Sometimes when you do something, you can go into auto. Yeah. Do you know what? That's a good question because you see now I can do save and continue. Yeah. So yeah, I'm normally on autopilot. So yeah. But you see, before I couldn't go past, but I've just typed any old rubbish here, and now I've got save and continue. So
Okay, all right, thank you.
Anytime you see an asterisk, that means it's a mandatory field you have to fill out.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, I didn't see it, sorry.
You've got better eyes than me. Right. Okay. So now this is another stage that because some of you mentioned about doing webinars, do all of you use Zoom or?
Yeah, pretty much so.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So as you can see, when I click on the next page, you see that you've got the ability to integrate with Zoom. It's picked Zoom by default for me because I've used it already, but I think it lets you do like other ones as well. But because we're using Zoom, I'm not gonna. I'm not an expert, by the way. I just know what I know. So yeah. So with this one, I've used Zoom before, so I can literally just click on Add Zoom, and it knows my Zoom account. So that is straightforward. And then I just click on next. Okay, select existing. Okay, we'll create new meeting. Okay, so here okay, let's go through the motions. Okay, so let's just, so you see that it wouldn't let me go past because what it wants me to do, it wants me, the same way that it linked up with my Canva, it wants me to link up with my Zoom account. So you see now I've selected create new meeting. So I could click on, let me just read this here. So you've got meeting, ideal for, and then webinar. Okay, so just in case anyone doesn't know, if you have a paid Zoom account, you can do webinars. But if you have a free or lower tier Zoom account, you can do meetings. So I can, although I have a paid account, I don't have like the pro account, so I can't do webinars. So I do meetings. So, and then I'm going to do create new meeting. And you see here, it has linked up with my Zoom. Same thing again. It's, I don't know if it forces me to have an image here, but let's just go through the motions. So, okay, so it's linked with my Zoom. I could add a thumbnail. Okay, so I can set the date here. Opportunity webinar, date and time. So let's just say, I can't remember what date I set, but yeah, let's just assume it's this one. Now, one thing to bear in mind, which this was the mistake that I made when I first started using this. By default, your tickets are no longer available from the start of the meeting. So if you're doing tickets, they will automatically be available from when you click to publish, but they stop being available at the moment that the meeting starts. But so what I always do now, so what I'm seeing here, I think it's basically remembering some stuff I've done before. So I always check to see the end time of the okay, no, we're not on the tickets. I'm jumping the gun, sorry. Right, okay, so this is the meeting time. Forget what I just said for now, but so let's just focus on this. So you've got the meeting time is 7 to 8:30, and okay, I have the option here to allow attendees to join before the meeting starts. Most of the time, I suppose people are just going to do it for say 5 minutes. You don't want to do too much in case people disappear, they get bored. Ticket access, visibility. So you've got a few customizing things that you can do here. All tickets and visibility. Oops. And visibility. Okay, what else have you got? Okay, so what you could do is you could decide to hide the visibility of the tickets, but I just keep it as visible. And I'm now going to click on apply. So like I said, normally you would, it's up to you. You could create a custom image here for Zoom as well. And if you look, you see that it's got a very specific ratio here. So that's one of the reasons why it's quite useful to have Canva, because you can customize image sizes in order to get the right look from here. If you don't get it quite right, you can adjust it slightly to fit this, but bear that in mind whenever you're creating an image. Okay, does anyone have any questions at this stage?
Yeah, do you when you download the tickets or do the tickets, is it automatically Acrobat?
Oh, right. Okay. Yes, it downloads to an email. So we're coming to the ticket section. I think that's the next stage. Yeah. So, right. So we've done the Zoom bit here. So yeah. So because when I've done them, when people register, they automatically get an email, and then that gives them the barcode. For example, if it's a physical event or it's a PDF, like you just said. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. Okay, so this is the interesting bit as well. So, right, so let's just say you finished all, and if you look on the left, you see that you've got the different stages and you can go back and forth. So don't worry about getting it wrong and panicking that, oh, I must get it perfect before moving to the next stage. You can fiddle around and play with it, and you don't even have to publish it when you're first doing it. So let's just say, for example, you don't have the right images when you're first doing it. You want to, play around and get the right image to publicize it. You can come back to it afterwards. So you don't have to worry about having to get it perfectly right straight away. So anyway, so we're on the ticket section at the moment. So if I click on create new tickets, and you see you have the option of paid and free. Because it's a webinar, I'm going to focus on free. With the paid one, if you go for the steps of the paid, because I'm not sure what it's going to show on the screen, so I don't really want to go on that one, but it's very quite straightforward. And if you go for the paid option, it will come with the option to link to your bank account using PayPal, etc. So that's fairly straightforward. And I've only done one paid event, which is the one that was yesterday. And what I noticed is that it looks like the payout is 2 days after the event, either that or just by coincidence, either that or it's the first of the month. And just by coincidence, the first of the month is coming up. So I'm not sure if it's a few days after or the first of the month. So that's something to bear in mind. But 99% of the time I do the free ones because they're webinars. So if I click on free, and you see that you still have the option to make it either a paid or a free event. So let's just say I'm making it a free event, and I can say there's an available quantity of 50. And you see the availability of tickets starts from now, depending on when you publish it. So that's why you've got today's date. And then the sale ends on the date of the webinar. And this is where I jumped the gun a bit earlier. You see that the end time of the ticket sale is the beginning time of the webinar. And that's the mistake I made before. So you know how quite often people turn up late. So what happened the first time I did one is like lots of people turned up late and they couldn't get in. And then I realized afterwards it's because of this. So whenever you do a webinar, be mindful to make it the ticket sale, say the end of the meeting, or maybe you might want to make it half an hour in, depending on how strict you want to be in terms of allowing people to come in late. So for the sake of this, I'm going to do the ticket sale ends at the end of the webinar. And you've got advanced settings. Yeah. And another thing that I did before, just for your information, I was tinkering around with this visibility thing. So if you make it hidden, it's not possible to sell any tickets. So if you're starting out, I would say you can ignore the advanced settings. And the only thing you really need to focus on is confirming the times and confirming that the ticket sale ends not at the time of the webinar, but sometime into the webinar. Okay, so I'm going to save that. So does anyone have any questions at this stage?
You're doing good. I love it.
Okay, that's cool. Right, okay, so, and now let's just say that, so you see you've got here, you've got general admission, there's availability of tickets and no tickets have been sold so far. So that's why you've got the 0 and then the 50. But I might want to make more tickets available, but I might not necessarily want people to know that there's more than 50 spaces. So you might want to do that to maybe create a bit of demand, whether it's a physical or virtual event. So I might say that the actual capacity is 100. So I'll save that. But you see, even though the capacity is 100, when people go into register, all they can see is 50. So you might say to yourself, you know what? I don't want people to relax too much. I want to make sure those tickets get sold. So I'm going to change that to 20. And then that could be a way of creating a sense of urgency. But you see that the availability, the capacity is still 100. And then what you can do is it can be a good way of monitoring, because if you're sharing a link somewhere, suddenly people say, oh, I can't buy a ticket, it's all sold out. You can go back into it and then adjust the availability accordingly. So that's a little strategy that you can use as well. So if I click on next. So this is the last stage. And this is the bit where you can do your final adjustments. Make sure that you're happy with what you're seeing. And you see here, just below the center of the screen to the left, you've got publish now, or you've got schedule for later. So what you could do is say, do you know what? I'm happy with what I've done, but I don't want to make it visible just yet. So you can schedule it to start at a particular date and time, or you can publish it now if you wanted to. What you can also do, you've got, you see preview your event. So if I click on that, this shows what the potential attendee is going to look. So it shows you what it's going to look like to them. So you see, if you scroll down, you can see reserve a spot. They have the option of purchasing just one ticket. I think there's an option somewhere where you can adjust it so that they could purchase more than one if they wanted to, for the physical events. So yeah, so that's the preview. So if I just close that and go back to here, you've got what's the attendee event page again? Let me just. Okay, yeah. So that one is just showing those who have already registered. This shows what they can see. So for example, this has got like the details of the event if I had put more information in there. So that's what that is. Okay, and that's basically it. I try not to give too much information in these things because I don't want people to absorb too much at once. It's better to keep it fairly straightforward, and then you've got something to play with. So that being the case, does anyone have any questions relating to what I've just said?
Thank you definitely for sharing this information.
Thank
We do a
you.
lot of events.
That's okay, no problem. So, oh, sorry. Did someone have a question there?
No, it's me, Ricardo here.
Okay.
I just wanted to say, first of all, I want to say thank you for, making it possible. I know you are a busy man. I appreciate, I appreciate everybody's time. I think even though we are planning to share the information, the cool thing could be applied information. Now that you know how to do it, is the way, the way that we capitalize on Arbor time is doing it. So I really want everybody to try to do it. It's a perfect way to promote any events that you're having. Could be a presentation, could be anything. The same event you're having in the US is a perfect way how to promote the event, sell the tickets, and get people involved. This is another way how to get people, through the door. But it won't happen if we don't do it. We are really amazing at having information, but we need to apply more. All right, so I want everybody who receive this information to pass on to the people who didn't do it or who they are not here tonight, but trying to do it. I tried to do it myself. I mean, of course, I did it with Albert's help, but I made the ticket for the Tuesday night presentation here in London. I will continue doing that because it's a perfect way, a passive way to invite people. So, Albert, thank you so much, mate. I appreciate that.
No problem. What I'm going to do, I'm going to send you, I'm just going to paste a link to the last one that I did that went a little bit into Canva as well. And that'll be useful for you because that's my YouTube channel, and you will be able to, once I've saved this recording, you'll be able to access today's recording on my channel as well. So that's the old one that I did. So that one is basically what I spoke about today, but it goes a little bit into Canva as well. So so if anyone uses Canva, hopefully you will find that useful as well. And yeah, once this one is ready, I'll upload this one to my channel as well. Feel free to follow my channel. I won't object if you do.
Okay, so if you on the paid section, I know you didn't go through it.
Yeah.
Is there some sort of percentage as a webinar? You get paid, or
yeah, so Eventbrite do take a bit. So for example, yesterday, the link that I was using, we had a combination of free and paid tickets. So the paid tickets were £5 each, but the total that Eventbrite took was so the total ticket was £50, and the total that Eventbrite took was £61, I think £61.28, something like that. So Eventbrite do put a bit on top that they take. So bear that in mind if you're doing ticket sales. So there's always going to be a little bit on top that they take for admin or whatever it is that they do.
repeat that again, please.
Oh, sorry. So yeah, so whatever price that you set, Eventbrite is always going to add a little bit on top. So I'm not sure what percentage that is. So £50. So a total revenue or whatever of £50 that resulted. Okay, no, actually, let me try and know that. So yeah, if the ticket is £5, then Eventbrite is going to take £6 something. Just
13. Yeah, it was £1.13 they took.
Yeah.
So every £5 they're gonna take £1.13.
Yeah.
So as you said, like the total sales we got was obviously 62, but they're gonna take out the percentage. So in total we had 50 quid, and the rest was theirs because of their services we're using.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So there is a fee that they charge.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
You don't know what percentage that is of the ticket sale.
That's probably about 20%. 20 is just a shave over 20%. Yeah, because it's £1 something, isn't it? So yeah, it's a little bit over 20%, I think that was. But I don't know if that percentage goes down if it's, say, for example, a £50 ticket. You see what I mean? So they probably have like a minimum percent for small amounts, but that probably diminishes. Yeah. But because I don't really focus on paid events, I don't really know. My knowledge of that isn't really extensive. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot.
That's okay. Brilliant. That's okay. No problem. Does anyone else have a question before I go? Okay, so what I'll do, I'll stop the recording. Bear with me.